Last week, the U.S. Senate passed an immigration reform bill that will provide a lengthy pathway to citizenship for a significant percent of the 11 million undocumented immigrants in the United States. The amendment, introduced by Republican Senators Bob Corker and Senator John Hoeven, will double the number of Border Patrols from 20,000 to 40,000 agents over the next decade and allow the construction of 700 miles of new walls and fences on the border.
But I do think the American people have asked us, if we pass an immigration bill off the Senate floor, to do everything that we can to ensure that we have secured the border. That's what people in Tennessee have asked for. That's what people in North Dakota have asked for. That's what people in Arizona have asked for.
The amendment has evoked outrage from immigrant rights groups on both sides of the border, who say that this militarization will violate people's human rights. Since the U.S. increased border security in 1994, over 6,000 people have been found dead along the border. It is estimated that over 500,000 migrants cross the border illegally every year. Roxana Rodriguez is a researcher at the Autonomous University of Mexico City and believes that reform will not impact people's motivation to cross into the United States.
Los migrantes van a seguir cruzando la frontera las veces que sea necesaria y lo que van a hacer es que van a encontrar otros caminos para cruzar la frontera, porque los migrantes tienen una necesidad de salir de sus países, una necesidad económica, una motivación personal o ir en búsqueda de un sueño. Lo que nosotros justo no podemos permitir es que se castigue la movilidad humana, porque la movilidad humana es un derecho, independientemente de cuáles sean las razones.
Rodriguez helped coordinate a food and clothing drive for the San Jose Huehuetoca Migrant Refuge House, located 50 miles outside of Mexico City, situated along one of the common migrant routes. Migrant activists in Mexico have stated that security has not just increased on the northern border, but also the southern border with Guatemala. The U.S. has been pressuring the Mexican government to beef up security and target Central American migrants on their journey north. This small refuge house was raided by Mexican migration forces and municipal police on June 17th. Andrea Gonzalez is a coordinator with the migrant house and says the government's actions were completely illegal.
Hubo una redada del Instituto Nacional de Migración aquí en el comedor. Lo hicieron sobre las vías, pero entraron al comedor y detuvieron gente que estaba aquí desayunando. La ley de migración estipula que no se pueden hacer redadas dentro de las casas del migrante, tampoco que puede participar la policía municipal. La policía municipal es la que estuvo ayudando al Instituto Nacional de Migración. Golpearon gente, jalaron gente, hicieron toda la redada por las vías hasta la otra casa del migrante, se llevaron a 40 personas y bueno, pues rompieron sus propios leyes, sus propios reglamentos.
Alberto Velázquez traveled from Honduras and had just finished eating at the dining hall when migration arrived.
Estábamos comiendo, salimos tantito del comedor y de repente estábamos en la vía esperando el tren y todo, y de repente pues vi que los paisanos empezaron a echar a correr, pero nunca nos imaginamos que era la migración. Migración se quedó en el crucero de aquí atrás y los que llegaron fueron los policías, agarrando ahora sí que a los paisanos, jalándolos agresivamente, diciéndoles de groserías, metiéndose hasta el comedor. Yo jalé hacia mano derecha y lo que me dijo el policía, si das un paso más adelante te disparo. No es justo, ¿verdad?, que nos hagan eso, o que les hagan eso a las demás personas que vienen en el camino.
The migrant house in Huehuetoca had previously been shut down by local authorities who claimed it was linked to organized crime. It had only been reopened a few months before the raid. Eduardo Barragan, who is the secretary of the City Council of Huehuetoca, spoke in a press conference about the raid.
Tratar de mitigar la presencia del migrante en situaciones como el Comedor San José, o boteando en los topes de las avenidas, o pidiendo dinero en el mercado, o tomando en la vía pública.
Numerous immigrants interviewed at the migrant house recounted stories of abuse by authorities, from train engineers to local police. Luis Fernando Martinez traveled from Honduras with his girlfriend and said that as they crossed the southern Mexican states of Chiapas and Veracruz, they not only faced torrential rains and robbery, but also confronted kidnappers, who he believes are in cahoots with the police.
Llegamos a Medias Aguas y empezamos a ver muchas cosas en Medias Aguas, cosas como engaños para uno, como un extorsionamiento, como secuestro, que lo quieren llevar a uno a darse un baño a tal casa, pero empezamos a ver, las personas que somos más listas que otros, empezamos a captar que aquellas personas nomás los quieren llevar a sus casas a darles un baño, a darles algo de comer, pero con la intención de secuestrarlos. Entonces nosotros a veces, yo pido así a México, que por lo menos tan siquiera debería de haber una comandancia en ese lugar. Nosotros en el día lo mínimo que miramos es una patrulla, pero ya de noche un policía no se ve por ahí. Entonces la mayoría de ahí, los malandrines, ellos compran a los policías. Si saben que de un emigrante van a pedir $4,000, $5,000, saben que a un policía de allí lo van a comprar con $10,000.
Martinez lived in the United States before, but said he wasn't even going to try to enter this time because of the prevalence of violence in the north. An estimated 10,000 migrants are kidnapped or disappeared in Mexico each year, according to Mexico's National Commission on Human Rights. The bolstering of the wall and border security also entered the conversation with Martinez. An article recently published in Forbes magazine stated that the, quote, Immigration Modernization Act reads like a shopping list of high-tech and high-cost military surveillance and sensor systems, mandating the purchase of everything from helicopters to night vision goggles to drones. It will dedicate over $30 billion to increase border security, much of which will go to defense contractors. Rodriguez questioned why migration politics are so focused on preventing human transit, while simultaneously there is a strong demand for labor. She said there's an urgency for the U.S. to enter into agreements with Mexican and Central American countries to create more work-related visas. Velázquez echoed this sentiment. He lived in the United States for many years, but was forced to return to Honduras following his deportation.
Estados Unidos creció o está creciendo. Que nosotros también necesitamos de ellos demasiado, ¿verdad? Porque gracias a ellos sobrevive nuestra familia.
In the coming weeks, the House of Representatives will vote on immigration reform and the attached security measures. Humanitarian activists in Mexico say they will continue to provide food and shelter to migrants and demand that their right to freedom of movement not be criminalized. Andrew Janal, The Real News Network, Mexico City.